So I was doing some research for a video this morning, and I noticed something and kind of got sucked down the rabbit hole. And in doing so, I actually found some very interesting parallels to something we saw not long ago. We've obviously referenced, ADA in relation to the 2020, 2021 cycle. We've talked about how similar we are to what took place in late 2020 before the boom happened. And what I found as well is right now, we're actually mimicking what we did in late 2023, right as the bull market cycle was kicking off. And I want to show this to you guys. I want to talk about what this might mean for ADA price moving forward here, kind of a couple relationships that we need to monitor closely, as well as the capital that is here right now that can help take us to new highs. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below, hit that subscribe button, that bell, it's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So the way I found this was I was doing research for this SHIB video, and I was looking at structure, and the structure for SHIB was actually very similar to what we were seeing in late 2023. And that started making me think, are we going to see something similar? How does this relate to other assets? And what I found was very interesting, and I need to show this to you guys. So right now, in terms of USDT dominance, if I still have this pulled up, we're sitting at about 4.31%. When we were looking at late 2023, we were sitting somewhere as this was kicking off. Actually, it was around like the start of November is where this is really good reference point is. It was about 6.6%. And so I was looking at, USDT market cap. And what I noticed is that there's been a pretty significant bump since that period of time. We obviously know there's been a lot of stablecoin minting that's been going on. And we've actually seen this double. We've seen the total market cap of USDT actually double since that period of time. And so I was like, okay, that makes sense. There's been a lot of, introduction of institutional money. There's been a bunch of enterprises entering the space. But what I found next was even more telling. Since that time, the amount of USDT on exchanges has actually tripled. That is a big, big deal. In fact, over the last 2 months alone, we have seen the amount of stable coins on exchanges surge by 20%. So there's been a lot of capital that has been, again, positioning itself to buy in the market, but also a lot of capital that has been buying. In fact, what we've seen since April alone is a $1.6 trillion surge in the total market cap of crypto. So there's a lot of capital positioning itself right now. But actually, when we relate the percentage of USDT dominance to capital on exchanges to USDT market cap, it shows right now we actually have a similar but slightly more amount of capital ready to buy currently than we did at that point in time. And we obviously know what happened once that kicked off. ADA started to see some very exciting movements in the charts. The whole market just started booming and doing some incredible things. And now we obviously have a lot of wind in our sails here too. We're talking again about regulation. We're talking about more interest rate decreases. Obviously, in the Cardano ecosystem, we have some big launches that are coming as well. So this is all painting a very exciting picture. And in fact, I was looking back at this, and what I found was some striking similarities structure-wise to what we did at that point in time. Guys, that's about where we're at right there. We're doing what we did right before things got very exciting. Now, this paints a not quite so exciting picture because obviously if ADA stops where it did in relation to the early part of this bull market cycle, that only shows $1.75. But I want to remind everybody that ADA's performance back then is very different to what it's doing now. ADA went from an underperformer at that time to now an overperformer. And I know there's been some people that have disagreed with me on that. And frankly, guys, the data doesn't lie. When we look at ADA versus Solana over the last 365 days, it's up 28.69% versus Solana. And that's despite Solana actually having a pretty significant surge as of late. In the ADA ETH chart, we're actually up 43% versus Ethereum over the last 365 days versus BTC. We're up 29% during that time. So yeah, ADA has been outperforming over the last 365 days. We can squash it. We can put it to rest. If you disagree with me, math doesn't care about your feelings. All right. Now, something I did notice here as well that I wanted to point to is we were discussing actually this ascending channel for the ADA ETH chart. And we actually did get that perfect bounce off the bottom like we were discussing. And right now it looks like it's fighting actually a huge reversal versus Ethereum, which again, coincidentally enough, is actually what was taking place around that market cycle, around that part of the market cycle as well. We were fighting that 50-day moving average, and that's when we had a big. Everything is just basically doing what it's done before. I hope everybody realizes that, and maybe we do something completely different. Maybe we don't get this big boom, but I'll tell you what: the capital, the charts, the stablecoin trends, it's all showing what we've seen before. And last time it led to a very significant boom across the space. Now, with ADA having these loud narratives and performing the way it is, it's possible we could see ADA do much bigger things than what we saw in late 2023 into early 2024. In fact, it would not surprise me if it became more of a market leader at that point. You know, we've obviously talked about ADA's performance compared to other assets during this market cycle as well. But I want to remind everybody that ADA continues to be a better late market performer than it has been a better early, or it performs better later in markets than early in markets. Right? I repeat that a ton, right? But even as we've looked at ADA's pumps as this cycle has progressed, that has been the case. It's obviously now in the big US based asset narrative as well. Conviction is higher than most assets in the crypto space. I mean, you have right now on a fundamental level exactly what you need to set some insane highs. We have diminishing supply available. Exchange supply has been dropping significantly. You have high conviction in terms of holders, people that are unwilling to dump anywhere near these levels. You have major developments taking place in the ecosystem. Again, it's a US-based asset. I mean, there's all these things that, again, are painting this beautiful, glorious picture. And all we have to do is just be patient and wait. And you can do whatever you want. Obviously, this isn't financial advice or a guarantee or anything like that. But I thought it was very, very telling what ADA is doing right now, what the market is doing right now. It feels like, again, the calm before the storm. It feels like it's right before things are going to get very, very exciting. Q4s tend to be very exciting for this market. They have been in 2023. They have been in 2024. They have been historically speaking. And now we're only 9 days away from this time frame kicking off yet again. So I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think we're about to see some pretty exciting surges? Are we going to see ADA try to push the top of its trend like it's done historically speaking? That gets us pretty darn close. Obviously, new cycle highs are always a fun thing. FOMO can ensue. Again, this is all even just with capital here right now. This is excluding any new capital from retail entering the market. This is excluding adoption. Okay, that is what can really make these booms become even bigger. So I appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.